Hey guys, I wanted to chat really quickly about something that some people have been, or not some people, I've heard it mentioned a couple times over the past month or so to me, just when talking with people, and wanted to address it. So I've been told that, well, I'm already doing physical therapy, so I don't need to go see a physical therapist. And I would actually beg to differ for a couple reasons. Firstly, physical therapy isn't just doing exercises. It's not just strengthening. It's not just improving your mobility. It's a systematic assessment of where you're limited and how you're limited and how that limitation plays into what you want to achieve. So just say you have knee pain, if you simply strengthen your quadricep because you think, well, if I strengthen my thigh, it's going to help my knee. Well, it may help your knee and it may not help your knee. You don't actually know unless you get it assessed. In the physical therapy world, we have a saying that says, don't just guess, assess. Because if you don't have a thorough assessment, you don't actually know if you're treating the problem or not. And if you're not treating the problem, odds are you're not going to get better unless you just get lucky. So an assessment is crucial, and that is one of the major differences between actually going to see a physical therapist and attempting to do your own physical therapy. And then from there, so not just the assessment, physical therapy includes the plan to get you better. And so initially, usually things start off addressing one thing, but then as an injury heals and evolves and progresses, you have to start addressing different things, and you have to know what to address as things change in order to get the best result possible. So if you start doing something and it helps your pain, that's awesome. But then as your pain improves, usually there's going to be other things to address. So like if you have pain with squatting, if you have knee pain with squatting, and you address your ankle mobility and that improves your knee pain, that's great. But if your hip stability is very poor, you're still not going to get the optimal outcome if you only address your ankle mobility and you don't address your hip stability. And you don't know whether or not you need to address one or both of those unless you actually get it assessed. And then the plan changes as you go, and it's a process that also accounts for how irritable your symptoms are. So say you throw out your back when you can't stand up, you have to like hold on to something to straighten yourself up. Initially, the exercises that I would prescribe for you are going to be very, very different than someone who has a history of back pain for 20 years and it's kind of mild and it's there all the time. Simply because they're going to be able to tolerate more stuff than someone who has a very, very recent episode of back pain that's very severe. So something like a bird dog where you're on your hands and knees stretching out your legs and your arms may be great for someone who's had back pain for 20 years, but it may not be the best choice for someone who threw out their back yesterday simply because it's more likely to flare their symptoms up. And unless you have that clinical knowledge and that skill set of knowing what's going to flare things up and what's going to help things calm down, it's really hard to figure out what you actually need to do to get better. So that's kind of my thoughts on why you should see a physical therapist and why you shouldn't try to do it yourself. And then I also wanted to explain it in a little bit of a different way. So it's kind of like you wouldn't go to court and argue your own case. You wouldn't try to replace the engine on your car. What was my other note? You wouldn't try to diagnose your own contact lens prescription. You wouldn't, basically there's a reason that professionals exist. And if you have pain and you want it to go away, the most efficient way to go about it is seeing a professional and not trying to tackle it on your own. But I'm not against people tackling it on their own. I'm just saying if you attempt that, it could get better for sure. And if it does, that's fantastic. But the most efficient and comprehensive way to get from point A to point B is to enlist the help of a professional. So those are my thoughts on why you should see a physical therapist and you shouldn't just try to tackle your symptoms on your own. If you have any questions or comments on that, I'd love to hear them. Comment below or shoot me a message. And have a wonderful Saturday. It's actually beautiful outside today. I was very surprised for Wisconsin in October. It's beautiful out. So have a wonderful Sunday, guys.